Hi, my name's John McCague. I'm licensed real estate representative with Lepage RCR in Alliston. Been licensed since 2000. I'm preparing a series of short videos on topics related to real estate. This one in particular is added value. So I get asked from time to time, people will ask me questions, where should I be spending my money in upgrading my property? And so every property is unique, and so it depends on what the property is. I would really have to take a look at the property, but what I can tell you is that you should be making regular improvements to your property. You shouldn't allow your property to become so outdated that if you were to put the house on the market, it would greatly affect the value of your house. You want to make sure that things are kept relatively modern. When you're choosing colors, you want to make sure that the colors are neutral. You can accessorize with whatever colors you want, but just be very careful when you're putting in, example, carpets. You want to make sure that they're neutral colors. You don't want to go with anything that is going to detract from the aesthetics of a house. I go in from time to time to people's houses and they ask me, they say, what do we need to in order to prepare a house for sale? And I will say, well, one thing that may need to be addressed is colors. And what I mean by that is that sometimes it's the color of walls, sometimes it's the color of carpets, sometimes it's the color of kitchen cabinetry or the tiles in a bathroom, things like that. So you want to make sure that you use neutral colors when you possibly can. Where should you be spending your money? I think everybody knows that you want to have an updated bathroom and kitchen. Finished lower level is certainly appealing. An outbuilding will certainly add value to some properties, not all properties, but if it's a rural property, outbuildings seem to be very popular, and you should get dollar for dollar what you put into it as long as you're careful. It all comes down to being careful and not going overboard on what you're putting in to replace what's already there. So as far as the kitchen goes, you want to make sure that you put in something that looks modern, but something that also will appeal to just about anybody. Same with the bathroom. Finishing a lower level certainly adds value because it gives you more living space. The lower level hopefully will have a rough-in bathroom, so you should have a bathroom, at least a two-piece and hopefully a three-piece bathroom in the lower level. That certainly adds value. If you have a laundry room and your laundry room has to be in the lower level, to have a finished laundry room, a good size, and have it with cabinetry, something that it's nice and workable. I like to use the word workable. If it's workable, then that's ideal. People's definitions of what's considered a laundry room can vary quite significantly. So you have to make sure that if you're talking a laundry room, that it actually is a laundry room and not just a closet with a bunch of appliances in it. Where is money spent that you don't necessarily get dollar for dollar? Well, windows, utilities, and roof, and the well, those are expected to be there. It's hard to get dollar for dollar out of when you replace windows, utilities, such as electrical, the roof, things like that. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you don't go on the high side. You don't want to go on the low side either. You want to go somewhere in the middle. So when you're installing windows, you want to make sure that you use good windows. You don't necessarily have to have the best windows, but at least good windows. Utilities, you want to make sure that you've got the proper utilities. So example, if you had fuses and you upgrade to a breaker, you want to make sure that if it's 100 amp, you've got ample space on that fuse panel, that if, or sorry, on that breaker panel, that if somebody was to add something new electrically, so maybe air conditioning or whatever, that you've got that extra space on that panel for that. A lot of people are going with the non-asphalt roofing, and that's wonderful, that's fantastic. Does it add value? Absolutely, it adds value. Does it add dollar for dollar? Probably not, but it certainly makes the house more appealing. So you're not throwing money away by replacing the windows and utilities and the roof, but you may not necessarily get dollar for dollar what you put into it. Replacing anything not necessary, such things as luxury items like a pool. So I always say that a pool, it's nice to have, but a lot of people find it that if it's a small backyard, that a pool takes up too much space, or that it takes too much work to maintain, or if it's an above ground pool, is a bit of an eyesore if it's just not done properly. Some of the above ground pools are wonderful, but some of them can be a bit of an eyesore. And if a pool is older, then they have a certain lifespan, and if they're not properly maintained, that lifespan can be shortened dramatically. You want to make sure that if you do have a pool, you're purchasing the pool because you want the pool, not because it's adding value to your property. It is a luxury item, and you have to approach it as such. We get buyers from time to time. They'll come into the office, and they'll say they want to buy a property specifically that has a pool, or they're looking at $1 million plus house, and $1 million plus house. In certain circumstances, it's almost necessary that it has a pool, because the house will look funny if it doesn't. So there's a case where it doesn't necessarily add value, but it certainly helps to sell the property. When it comes to selling a rural property, you have to recognize that rural properties, there's different types of rural properties. There's rural properties that are income generating, and there are other ones that are purely residential. If it's an income generating property, a lot of the time the way we price the property is per acre. If it's more a residential type rural property, we price it as a package, as a parcel. So what we need to know is what is that space, the extra space. So if it's 5 acres, we need to know right around the house you're probably going to have about an acre to 2 acres. And what we need to know is those additional 3 to 4 acres, what can those 3 to 4 acres be used for? If they're purely for privacy, then you're not necessarily going to get per acre what an acre would be worth. You're going to get a small portion of that. But if the full 5 acres, the full 4 acres, or whatever size it is, if it's all usable, then the value is going to go up dramatically. What people in rural properties are looking for is in a lot of cases, they like the 10 acres. Anything less than 10 acres, they feel that living in the country, they're maybe a little bit too cramped. But some properties that have 10 acres, a lot of the 10 acres can't be used, and maybe only 2 acres can be used, and the remainder of the 10 acres is just purely as a buffer, providing privacy. Agricultural land is sold per acre, and what farmers are looking for is they're looking for full 100-acre blocks. A lot of properties today, they were originally 100 acres, but they've had severances taken off. Depending where those severances and the number of severances can affect the value of the remaining acreage to a farmer. If there's too much taken off or the property's too small, farmers, unless they're adjacent to, they already own land adjacent to the land that we're talking about, it may be of little value to them, and they wouldn't be interested in purchasing it, and it would be more suitable for, say, a hobby farmer or someone like that. But if it's adjacent to an existing farm, then that farmer is interested. They will, more times than not, they will pay good value. So hopefully you find this information useful. This is to do with added value to a property, an existing property that you're thinking about selling. And even if you're not thinking about selling, but just for future reference, these are the areas that I would or would not put my money in to improve your property and to improve the value of your property. So hopefully you find it useful. As I say, there's other topics that I cover in these short videos. Hopefully you get an opportunity to look at those as well. Feel free to take a look at them. Feel free to provide any feedback that you may find that I would find useful. I would certainly like to hear from you if you're thinking about buying or selling, or if you know somebody who is thinking about buying or selling. I would certainly appreciate you passing them on my name. My name is John McCague. I'm with Lepage RCR in Alliston. My phone number here, Toronto, is 1-866-772-5368. Local, 705-435-3000. My cell, 705-791-2221. And my address is 7 Victoria Street West in Alliston. Thanks very much for your time. Hopefully you found this beneficial, and I look forward to hearing from you in the future. Thank you. Bye.